What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Light back here with my YouTube video. And in today's video we're going to be doing, let's talk about Thanos, the character, the MCU villain in the MCU, I guess. So yeah, if you aren't unfamiliar, basically I'm doing let's talks about these various MCU villains. I'm not going to do all of them, but I want to do a few of them, and of course I've already done Killmonger, and of course Mysterio. So now currently I'm going to be doing Thanos. So yeah, what I like to do in this is just solely talk about the MCU. I mean, maybe I'll deem off comic adaptation, like how they did as an adaptation, if it was necessary to change their adaptation, if they were changed or whatever. So yeah, of course that's what I decided to do instead. But anyways, this will be kind of strictly kind of MCU talk. But anyways, let's get into it. So of course we got Thanos here. He's like the big bad of the MCU current, like right at this time. He's like the biggest bad the MCU has had. The 10-year villain, I guess you would call him. Uh, and yeah, the most like the worst enemy the Avengers have faced up to this date. Any of them that is. As currently right now, I mean, of course they could have like Galactus or something, which could be definitely a bigger threat as well. But I'm thinking maybe currently right now it's Thanos. But anyways, let's talk about his MCU appearances. So right now in the MCU, he has appeared in as the main villain of basically Infinity War and Endgame, but he's also made appearances like at the end of Age of Ultron. He's made appearances also in Guardians of the Galaxy. So he's made minor appearances here and there in the MCU beforehand. So we did see what he looked like. We knew what was coming, and eventually he would come down the line. So I'll start off with one thing. Let's just give my initial reaction to Thanos, in my opinion, in the MCU. So at the time it was 2018, we were about to watch Infinity War. Uh, and definitely a lot of people going into this were expecting maybe Thanos to be like, especially if you're a comic book fan, maybe you were thinking, oh, he's trying to impress Lady Death like in the comics, which actually I'll just get this out the way quickly. Comic adaptation wise, they tweaked his origin story a lot, uh, but everything else kind of maintains the same. I mean, they still keep the Titan stuff, and they of course keep him trying to get the Infinity Gems and all that. So that's fine. In terms of like they did buff him down a little bit, but of course that's fine because it's the MCU. Like I don't expect him to be like a crazy power scale all over the Avengers. He's still powerful enough to beat up the whole Avengers, so it's not a big problem. And then of course the kind of backstory, his reasoning. In terms of the Thanos reasoning for doing this, he says he wants to do this because he would he thinks it's helping by killing half the universe just at random to kind of help people with like in terms of food and water and supplies and stuff like that. People would stop starving and everything. So that's basically his whole idea behind this. And then in the comics per se, his whole idea is to impress Lady Death and basically he basically wants just to kill everybody because yeah, he wants Lady Death to basically marry him or whatever. So there's that, and then of course he's got the whole stuff with the Eternals in the comics, which as of this point in August 14th, Thanos has no affiliation with the Eternals right now, but maybe that could change once the Eternals movie has came out. But yeah, so there's that of course, and personally I think it's all right. I mean, maybe I would love to see maybe the Eternals beforehand, but I guess it's alright. I don't mind seeing it later or whatever. Maybe they'll put the Eternals as friends to. They'll do the whole Eternals thing with Thanos, but we know Titan was destroyed and everything. So there's that, of course. But anyways, let's get to the MCU. Personally, I think Thanos definitely surprised a lot of people. I must say, well, continue with the thing I was saying before. He definitely surprised a lot of people. Personally, myself, a lot. I wasn't expecting him to be as good a villain as he was. He was the one. I would argue, he had the second best reasoning for what he was doing. I mean, obviously genocide is very not good. It's not. It's terrible thing to do. But I mean, he did have some reasoning into why he was doing it. I mean, I guess like his reasoning being, it does make sense that people wouldn't starve and all that. But at the same time, genocide wasn't the way to do it. He seemed like he kind of wanted to help people at the same time, but at the same time, he didn't have a very good idea to stop it. I'm not saying right now, oh, I don't blame him or whatever. But at the same time, he kind of, I'm not going to say he was coming from a good place, but at the same time, you kind of understand why he's doing it and trying to help people and stuff. But at the same time, he's kind of act like a madman at the same time, so it kind of screwed up that. But yeah, I mean, he did have some decent reasoning. You even saw like even after Infinity War and Endgame, we saw he just destroyed the stones because he's like, honestly, there's no point in them being around because it's only for power, I guess, and you could clearly see he doesn't want it for power. He just more so wanted it to do what he wanted to do, and that's about it. So, and then he just retired. He didn't even care. Like, he didn't even care to go fight off the rest of the Avengers that were left, or ravage the galaxy, or own everything, or even keep a small army. He decided to just stay there by himself and whatever. So that's interesting to see as well. You kind of see, I'm not going to say character, it technically was a little bit, because we didn't know what the Thanos was doing before, what he was thinking of doing once he did this whole Infinity Stone thing. Because we even saw from the earlier Thanos, he was much more ruthless and everything. So that could have been character development, which was pretty interesting, in my opinion. But I mean, other than that, like, he provided a good threat to the Avengers. I mean, he brought them all together. He was pretty powerful enough to beat up the Avengers and everything. So honestly, in terms of an overall rating, I would say this guy easily gets an easy 9 point, or I'll say, actually I'll say 9.5 out of 10. Very good, but just missing like slight-ish things. I mean, sorry, one thing to say also is his looks. I mean, obviously, if you've ever read the comics, you would notice he's a lot more intimidating, a lot more like scarier slash uh kind of like intimidating more. Whereas in this, he is not too intimidated. I'm guessing because they didn't want to scare young children and stuff like that, but making him like super intimidating and or whatever. So I'm guessing that's like the whole reason why he doesn't look too intimidating. And that's just something else they could have made even better, is maybe if they made him a little bit more comic accurate, he could have been cool. But I mean, it was all right for what it was. So yeah, that's an easy 9.5 out of 10 for me. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video. Peace.